Um, Rod, can you explain how to reclaim family land if the corporation is defunct? Are land deeds contracts null and void?
The only thing they're gonna be good for is what you call a trace record. The trace record is because remember, the contract was canceled because they never honored the treaty. All of the treaties was all made up and predicated up on fraud, a constructed fraud. The constructed fraud was they declared $5 Indians chiefs and signed treaties as if they was with us. And when we seen in the South, a lot of us got trapped into what we call blind treaty agreements by not knowing the what we call the Queen's language and not knowing the legalese and not knowing that they're not the same. So a lot of them got trapped into signing treaties that they knew didn't have a fucking clue what they were signing, which was fraud. So when all of the contracts is canceled, when everything shut down and come back online, it'll be a path clearly to find out where your family's shit at. Because the corporation is defunct. It's a wrap. Okay, so when you got two polarities to a magnet, it creates a field. If it's laying flat, the field looks like the top of an apple, and it goes around, and the bottom of it looks the same. This is called a torus field or a torsion field. It's because of the pole in the center is it's projecting the field. Everything got a field. In the earth is called the atmosphere, but in the person it's called an aura. And they are made in the torsion field. The heart chakra is in line with the crown chakra in order to produce a torsion field that's much bigger than the torsion field of your heart chakra being in alignment with your root chakra. When you have all of them in alignment, it makes your torsion field even bigger. So your toric field much is 60 feet around you. And when you wake fully into consciousness and your mitochondrial is putting out maximum output, which means that you get maximum information from the DEA, then you can reach up to 50 miles with your auric field. And this is why we are connected. To us before 1492, but because of the experience, a wise man will talk to the experience and they will use terms that changes the psychological dynamic that's imposed on you by an oppressor. So don't get caught up and think that when Malachi speak about Nubians and Sabians, that he's excluding Hamites and Hittites. That's not what he's doing. He's going inside of the psyche, pulling the information out so you can use it as a perspective of view to see what you face with. A lot of these terms, Asiatic, those terms mean something to specific people from specific bloodlines more than they do to the collective. It's called light code language. It's written like that for a reason. So if you want to know what the Honorable Minister Farrakhan mean when he says Asiatic black man, read the literature. They tell you what they mean. But it's not going to mean the same thing for me.
No, that's what I say. That's what I say too. Hey, Roy, I like how you put that, Roy. I like how you answer that question. Because, like I say, Bible taught that the Asiatic black man is the Hindus, the blacks, dark-skinned Hindus. That's what Bible taught us. So, and it's not us. We're not Asiatic black man. Now, some of us do got Asiatic black man in us because these dark-skinned Moors or Asiatic black man came over here and mixed in with some of us. That's why all of us don't got this real nappy.
You remember, Elder? You remember when I said go back and look at the wars that Rome fought, so you will know who they was taking as captives.
That's right.
It's a steady flow of information of who they was fighting the whole time, while they was getting ready to come over here. They were fighting the Mongols, they were fighting the Huns, and they were fighting the Vedics, what the Nuwabians call Asiatic black man, the Hindu. Those are your Aryan race, those Enlil kids, but from a different wife than his wicked wife.
Go ahead.
Right? So they was blessed with certain features in the face, but Enlil put his kids over Inky kids, who's known in India as Dravidians, untouchable. They got afros, look like the Jacksons in the 70s.
That's right.
Right. So those were Inky kids, right? And that was called Eastern Ethiopia. Now this is where we start going into the difference Asiatic black man.
Okay.
Because the Dravidian was there before it was Asia.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
And so before it was Asia, you had big nose, big lip, Afro wearing people over there. They still there.
Yeah,
you can still look them up on.
Yeah, I know you're talking about. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, you can still look them up on the internet. They're not hard to find.
Yeah.
But then the people who was given the title Aryan, noble, they was placed in the palaces as the rulers. And because of the worship gene, they all stay in their place. That's an Anunnaki trait. If you ascribe a family function, it'll do that family function, the family for life, even if it's rat catchers.
Right. Go ahead. Neutral rat.
Right. Yeah, but whatever it is, the family gonna always. That's what their caste system is predicated upon. That idea. They changed it when they brought it to America. The caste system was predicated upon the brown paper bag test that kept us out of the institutions where they was exchanging all of this information that we now putting out in the public domain. They didn't just find this stuff out yesterday. They been knew this stuff. They knew they was going to do it before they done it because they wrote that they was going to do it before they done it. And then they said, don't believe it. They followed step by step exactly how they wrote it to get it done, but they tell us, don't believe it. It's a conspiracy theory.
Right.
Do with avoiding hostile weather patterns and what they call jet streams. In certain planes, you can't get caught in certain environments in the atmosphere because it'll send you straight to the earth.
Turbulence, all of that.
Right. So most of us don't know about all of that part of flying. So we're going to run our mouth and be talking about, see, in the plane, man, there's so much shit going to fly in the plane. That shit ain't no motherfucker. Why you think everybody ain't lined up to be no goddamn pilot? It take a special kind of motherfucker to fly planes.
Yeah, you do have to be. I was staying with somebody who was getting his pilot's license, and that's technical. So you got to know everything.
Like, look, they directing traffic in the air. This like trying to tell bullets where to go in real time.
Right.
Serious. The only thing they trying to make sure is this plane and that plane is not on a cross trajectory with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And you can pull up the aerial map and see what the air traffic over the United States alone looking like, let alone around the world. So now you the air traffic controller, you got to direct that shit. So it might seem like it's easier to fly from New York to Morocco, but they're going to take you to Spain first or Italy first.
Right.
Right? Because it's the flow of traffic in the air. It's the same with the highways. Motherfuckers just don't cut across the woods to go where they're going. They follow the road. It's just that it's a road in the sky that we can't see with the naked eye.
Yeah.
It's like it's a river running in the atmosphere.
Almost like what Morpheus said. Who told you it's air? It just might be. Just might be a lighter river.
Look, when the grid flip, we're gonna go to breathing the double oxygen molecule of the ozone. Ozone is going to crush closer to the earth. The lower atmosphere is going to move closer to the earth. And the oxygen that we breathe, we're going to be breathing a double oxygen molecule, ozone. It's going to change the way that we process metals in our biological systems.
So that's going to be when we flip back and start changing colors, start de-rusting.
Yeah, so right now with soft metals, the soft metals is the dominant metals based on how our DNA was programmed when the Anunnaki interfered with it. We used to be on platinum group metals only. Then the system that your body could become your spaceship, your Merkaba.
Right.
Right. And if they want to stop you from using your Merkaba, they have to switch the metals that you use because you have too much waste product generated in order to harness enough energy to raise up to that level of frequency.
That's what the food.
Yeah, the food, the toxins in the food, congesting the liver. Most of the food that we eat now with all those pesticides and shit is just to fuck the liver up. So once they fuck the liver up, you're going to have high blood pressure, diabetes, intestinal problems. Then that's going to cause impurities to build up in the blood that's going to strangle the brain of oxygen slowly. And then they're going to tell you got Alzheimer's or dementia. It's orchestrated. Everything was weaponized against us from the first day of school, goddamn it. When they put this motherfucking lights in the delivery room to blind the shit out your ass when you're born, to shock your visual cortex. That's in order to stimulate amnesia. So then they slap you on the ass so that you'll fall into instant trauma. And they don't give you immediately to the mama. They give you to somebody to stick a bottle in your mouth. So now you can't even sync to the mother. She can't sync to the baby. And then they wonder why these women got postpartum depression. Because they never made it. When I came out my mom, I was like, what the fuck is this shit? Where the doulas? I'm mad than a motherfucker. I was born with an attitude. Oh my God, this shit didn't look right. I'm used to, when I be born, I'm used to being born with a bunch of ladies in grass skirts with no top on. By candlelight. I don't know nothing about these motherfuckers with this motherfucking white suits and shit. Who is these motherfuckers?
Fluorescent light.
With these bright ass goddamn spotlights. I ain't no stage motherfucker. I'm not an actor.
Shit, that's hilarious. That's real though.
And they act like they don't know what they're doing.
Oh no,
that's the part that pisses me off, because when you say something, they'll say something like the doctors don't know what the doctors don't believe that. The doctors know what the fuck they doing.
Right. That's why I make it so hard to get that percentage.
It's basic common sense. Massive shock to the visual cortex causes amnesia.
That's the first thing you see.
First thing you see when you come out is a bunch of goddamn spotlights. And then them bright ass white jackets reflecting the spotlight even more.
Right into your soul, because that's the first time your soul sees the world, right?
Yeah, what the fuck is this shit? I just was doing flips on my mama's stomach and I come out here to this shit. This shit gotta get fixed. I knew that out the gate. This shit got to get fixed. I don't know what this. And then I'm listening to my mama telling my auntie, you got to get the baby out of here before they kill him. I'm like, why the fuck they want to kill me? I just got here. They knew who I was. I didn't.
Yo, let's talk about how you was talking about that amnesia. They still do it in the, well, not anymore, not as much. But I remember like in the 90s, early 2000s, where they used to have them little broadcasts where it made you sit through like 30, 45 seconds, almost a minute of the colors changing and the loud sounds. Mm-hmm. Was that make you forget certain things?
That's not necessarily amnesia. Sometimes that's to stimulate the same part of your psyche that the psychotropics stimulate. The peyote and the mushrooms, psilocybins, those color patterns, they call them psychedelic color patterns.
Right.
Right. So they mimic having the psychic trip without the psychic trip. And then if you put them under the strobing lights, and that's to stimulate the visual cortex as if you was having a psychic psilocybin or toadstool peyote trip. So sometimes they infuse them with a frequency of energy to directly contact your higher self, telling you, hey, soldier, we need you to wake up, but we can't tell nobody. Your subconscious already know, your higher self already know what the message means. Right? And it had to wait for you to get the message. Your conscious mind it's like, what the fuck going on? What's and then your subconscious is about to take over and he don't know it. They call that being possessed. You being possessed by yourself. That's your Zumbe. But they make you think that it's the undead, the zombie, the motherfucker that came back from the dead. Your higher self coming through your lower self is actually resurrecting you from a state of death to a state of life, from a straw man to an actualized being.
Yeah,
that's the metaphysics of it all.
Yeah, that connects on multiple levels. Even from studying the laws that I'm studying, it makes sense. It's like a rebirth on multiple levels.
Yeah, so everything they did, they weaponized against us, but we just fortunate enough to have enough of us around to work together in secret to overcome the obstacle in the open. We had to follow them secret squirrel motherfuckers around with pooper scoopers and examine their shit.
Yeah, your analogies get me every time.
Hey, that helps motherfuckers learn faster too. Make that shit stick.
Huh?
That makes the motherfucker learn faster. Make that shit stick like Velcro.
I just was telling somebody. I said, if you give somebody some analogies, you can. Because we was just talking about debates. I said the best way to win a debate is if you can make it. You can make an analogy to where they understand it. Because then they'll start to be like, you know what, you're right about that. Because you make them feel it.
Mm-hmm.
Get them to laugh and get them to make it real to them. Then you can kind of take over that.
Right, because you're involved in more parts of the psyche than just one.
Right.
The best teaching method involves the most of your senses. Right. So when you incorporate multiple learning styles into a teaching method, then it can reach more people effectively.
Mm-hmm. That's real. Okay, so there's a couple. I'm gonna sprinkle some of these questions in here because they drop them in here. Young Key 333 said, I find a lot of feathers on the ground randomly. What does that mean?
Your spirit messages. Look up the feathers and the feather colors. Whatever in the collective consciousness is the meaning of it. You look at the colors, like blue jay feathers. Is you might be about to win a court case.
Justice.
Yeah. A cardinal feather, message from the other side. Usually
spiritual realm, right?
Yeah. So when you start collecting your feathers, you start being able to read them for what they are. You start being there. It's like reading a book. You will receive a series of feathers with different patterns and colors for you to read. Then you know what the spirit message is from the Great Spirit.
That's fine. Okay, here we go. Somebody says, is it a meaning to be born with a purple tint?
That's not uncommon for us. Remember, we wasn't always copper, copper and iron based. We used to be copper and magnesium based. And we used to process platinum group metals instead of soft metals. The DNA program was synced to the soft metals to process, which causes the negative side effects, right? But the coloring pigmentation is altered. The melanin interacting in the keratin in the skin, causing the brown color, is the rusting of the iron, right? When you was magnesium and copper, the oxide, magnesium oxide, copper oxide pigmentation is green. And your blood looked like chlorophyll.
Mm-hmm. And that's gonna bring me to one point, the movie Avatar, the first one. You know, they're getting ready to drop the second one.
Right, with the blue people.
With the blue. And I'm of the mind that was basically a documentary of us, of our
people. It is.
Wars, was it not? Because you, at the end of it, you saw how they brought everybody, all the tribes from all over to come fight.
Yeah.
Right. So, but my biggest takeaway was in that movie. There was multiple takeaways, but one was getting us away from that center point of energy, that big tree.
Iwas. That tree was called Iwas in the movie.
Iwas, yes. Getting us
go back to Egypt and find out who Iwas was. Go back to Crowley.
Okay. Oh yeah. Before I forget, Carol Barn. What was that book? So I can type that in there and tell people to check that out too.
Melanin: Chemical Keys to Black Greatness by Dr. Carol Byrne.
Chemical Keys to Black Greatness. Somebody drop that in there for me, and I'll pin it. But yeah, so yeah, that tree that always stuck out with me. So much so to the point that I've done research, like try to find a map and try to identify where that tree was, because in that they made a direct emphasis.
I can tell you where it was at. It was in South Africa.
South Africa.
That's why there's hardly any trees left over there. They cut them down first. It was not far from where Credo Mutwa lives. It was called the Great Tree of Life. You could upload and download your consciousness. Really what it would do, if you was born in the 3D and you touch the tree will read your DNA and feed back the information to your conscious mind, where you can understand who you was in past lives. That's what they was doing in the movie.
It was like our Akashic records.
Yeah. But when they cut the tree down, we have what you call the energy signature of the tree, a phantom tree.
Like a phantom limb.
Yeah. The tree's still present. But now it's dissipated energy in the atmosphere, and we have to read it from a telepathic perspective with the earth. Right?
That's
when you start reliving that shit. And that's not the good part. That's not the good part. Because when you realize that some of the decisions you had to make for the betterment of the whole looked very horrible at the time you was making them, and nobody wouldn't understand it unless they seen the outcome today. The only way you would understand it. So that's why in Operation Looking Glass, they can't escape the singularity. Right? The same with Nostradamus and the psychics, they can't escape the singularity. Everything converged here and now. So when the Christians say everything working together for the greatest good, this is what they're talking about. No, the good shit and the bad shit. The right shit and the wrong shit. Use all that shit in order to clean up the dirt.
Facts. Yeah, because I'm man, I already feel it's time. So much so I keep telling people it's time. And it almost becomes harder and harder for me to even like engage in the daily, their system at all. Like every day it gets harder and harder. I've never been one to work a job. I always knew I was going to, be running my own thing. That was just the mindset I had since a kid. But just to see the system like really crumbling around us, but you see the distractions are only getting stronger and stronger. They're trying to pull out as many stops as they can. Can you talk on that a little bit?
Well, they're going to always send some low-rank low-level, poorly educated imbeciles to confront you, right? And it's because it's your responsibility in your God form, recognize who you is, to let them motherfuckers say what they want to say and continue doing what the fuck you was gonna do, right? I'm on here giving away free information on a motherfucking university level or higher.
Nah.
And motherfuckers want to find reasons to tear me down. I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna keep giving this information out, and if you got a problem with it, oh well, you got a right to have a problem with it, and I have a right to not give a fuck. So right. I already know it come with the territory. You're gonna be falsely accused. You're gonna be slandered. You're gonna be talked about. You're gonna be called names. You're gonna be the outcast. Because everybody gonna be mad because you the one that did it. They wanted to be the one to do the stuff that you did, but they didn't have the ambition that you had. So expect all that. This is what my mama told me. She said expect all that. Because in the Bible they talked about Jesus. So if they talk about Jesus, what make you think they not gonna talk about you? Right? Because they believe that Jesus to be their God.
Right.
So if they're going to abuse their own God, what much fuck you make them gonna think about our gods? They don't give a fuck about us. Right? So the ones of us who know who we are, as DMX say, recognize that they don't know who we be. But real recognize real, and we know who look familiar.
Right.
Right? And they say, yeah, as I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. You ain't catch Jay, did you? And yay, as I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I feel no evil.
Damn.
Right? Why? Because Rod and his staff is on the job. They done fucked up now.
Damn. See, that's that connection that I'm talking about.
See, all the time they thinking that the rod and the staff is the crook and the flail, but the rod is a man and the staff is the support system.
Yea, though I walk through the valley. Oh my.
And again, I say yea is right.
Thanks. Thanks.
So we're gonna take our yays and we're gonna put down their nays. That's what we're gonna do.
Right.
Override their authority. From a superior position of right, telling the truth, challenging their bullshit in front of their face, not behind their back. We ain't covering nothing up. We ain't running. We ain't ducking, and we ain't hiding. Motherfucker, we just telling you how it's gonna be as we lay down the law on the land, air, and the motherfucking water.
Right on,
to
bro.
restore the sisters back to righteousness. Bring this motherfucker back to paradise and get you parasites the fuck out the way, one way or another motherfucking other.
Seal. Yes, sir. That's real.
That's why I say Kyrie Irving said what he needed to say. See, y'all be taking everything and y'all don't realize that sometimes you got to move back in chess in order to go forward.
You don't see it like that though. Right in the moment, you're not seeing the bigger picture unless you're literally on that level. Like,
because everybody got to see the after the fact. Hindsight is 20/20.
Mm-hmm.
Foresight is myopic. It's short. You can't see very far in front of you. So you have to look back in order to see forward. That's the only way to see further.
Right.
Because ain't nothing new under the sun.
Kyrie has been dropping for the past couple years, really just kind of putting info out there about us being the.
Carol Burns is spelled B-A-R-N-E-S.
B-A-R.
B-A-R-N-E-S.
Okay, good.
Kelly wrote Burns.
But yeah, like, and it's kind of ironic. Like, I just remember because I've been out doing some research on the Hitler and Third Reich. They're, the true what they was really doing back then. Mm-hmm. And one of the things he's recorded is saying now if it's true or not, but I've seen it in multiple books where it says basically World War in where the world finds true Jews now we have somebody out here kind of, we've had people in the past, but we've never had somebody who's had the type of influence that Ye has. I mean, we've had even an NBA player in the past called him out on the Sharif Muhammad, I think. And he got kicked out. He was like dropping 20 points.
But, remember Craig Hodges?
Craig Hodges, that's him. That's what I'm talking about. But he changed his name, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, to his Muslim name. I can't remember what it was right now, but yeah.
Then you had the other brother, Raouf.
That's what I'm talking about, Raouf, the 3-point champion that was just dropping like 20 a night, and then he got put out the league. Hitler, the Black Magician.
Mm-hmm. Look, Adolf Hitler was a bad motherfucker. Adolf Hitler worked his way up from the dirt. Same way Joseph Stalin. No, Vladimir Lenin. Lenin worked his way up from the dirt. He studied his way to greatness. When you read the story, everybody say all he was doing was studying the problems of his country. The whole communist regime was funded by America the whole time. The Cold War, because they wasn't gonna never bomb on